conversation with Jamile. Today I am delighted to have as a guest Katrin Meingast. She is a multifaceted artist and a cultural organizer. And in my opinion, she embodies the power of art in society. So Katrin's artistic journey began after she graduated from Stuttgart University, of music and performing arts. And her path afterwards has been everything but conventional. So then she was in Qatar, where she established cultural institutions such as the Qatar Concert Choir and the Doha Baroque Ensemble. Then she came back to Dresden and she finished her master's in cultural management. And at the Dresden International University. And she dove deep into the work of Joseph Beuys. We're going to be talking a lot about that. And she's now based in Pirna. Wherever she goes, Katrin always manages to weave together community, art, and culture. Welcome.
Thank you.
Yes.
So much for your beautiful introduction.
Okay, so I want to dive go to the beginning. So after you graduated from Stuttgart, instead of going to the traditional path, like, okay, I'm just gonna dedicate to playing the cello, you decided also to create your own projects and your own events. What inspired that?
Well, after Stuttgart, because I studied 1 year in the United States, and coming back from such a big country to Stuttgart, it felt like I had to leave Stuttgart. So I decided to discover the eastern part of Germany, and then I landed into Dresden and I established myself as a freelancing cello player there, which was, I think, not easy, but I think I managed quite well. So I got to know the right people. And yeah, it just happened. I mean, I was teaching there at the Heinrich Schütz Conservatory. Mm-hmm. And as well, I met these amazing ladies from Dresdner Salon Damen. And I mean, this is already something which is not very common, because by accident I met these beautiful ladies and they asked me if I want to be part of the group. And so I started to play with them, and playing the cello there, they asked me as well to play the double bass. So I took some lessons and I learned the double bass, and this was already a step into a field which is not regular, or which is not like a common way of playing in an orchestra. And I always really liked to play projects or to be in projects, because I think the projects, they nourish each other. When I'm teaching, I bring my experience as a player, and when I'm playing, I have also the experience with the children. And when I play for exhibitions, I'm interested in the arts. Mm-hmm. And now with you as a dancer, when I work with you, it opens up a totally new layer to me. And I also worked with actors and puppet theater. So every project opens a new layer, and this is something which I really adore and appreciate, of course. So yes, I love to do projects, and I think it's very inspiring to work in so many different fields, I would say.
Yeah. And you, how many cellos do you have?
Yes, I have already some. Unfortunately, I'm not playing them all, of course. So mainly I have, which I use for modern music. Modern is like classical music, and we say modern instrument because it has the, is it iron? I'm not sure, the not the gut strings, but the modern ones. And this is my French one. It's quite old, maybe 150 years old.
Wow.
And then I had another instrument which I used for Baroque, and then I bought a new one for Baroque. So I think maybe 4 or 5.
Yes.
But mainly I play at the moment too. But lately I was playing them together in one concert, and I think it's really nice. I want to do that more often because every instrument has an own history and color. So I think it's great just to play them in one concert, you know, because then you can just take a decision which music you want to play with which instrument, and it gives them definitely another color to it.
Yes.
So this is nice.
Yeah. And so you mentioned now like the different kind of cellos you have, and also like that you play the Baroque music. And that's something that I really admire about the projects that you do, because I think from what I've observed, there are musicians who either stay honoring what I will say the museum, so you know they just play Bach and they play Mozart and just that, or they go to the extreme and they start playing contemporary music, which I can't listen to, but you managed to create a bridge between history and history, tradition, and then innovation. So how do you manage that tradition is not a limit but rather a point for you to innovate in your project?
I think it comes to my nature because I'm so curious, and I'm very open for projects. When people ask me, "Are you open to improvise?" I say never no, because I think it's just great to learn something new, and it opens up a new layer. And I mean, I don't see myself as a specialist in any field, you know, because then you really have to take a decision that you are, that you focus only on Baroque music, and maybe then you reach a point where you can say you are a specialist. But for me, it's more interesting just to have all these varieties and to work with people, you know, with different people. This is something which is always very inspiring, and I hope that in future I will have more of this kind of working with all kinds of artists, you know, and because you can learn so much. I remember I did my first project with puppet theater, and the director, he always said, which I find very interesting, as a musician we have to think as an actor, and as an actor they have to think as musicians. So when it's not that we give the music to actors, but we have to meet each other and to learn from each other, and to learn the language. And then I think when we reach that point, we create a new layer. And this is also something which I can learn from dancing, you know, how I can take the movements into my way of playing. And I think it's great when when there is really this very intense dialogue, and we never know where the journey goes. So it's also a risk, you know.
Yeah.
So because when you stay on your stable track and you learn your music, and then maybe there is not so much to risk, instead of stepping out that comfort zone, I would say.
Yeah.
So for me, this is always interesting to step out of that comfort zone and to learn new aspects. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I really enjoy how you, like, working with you, I notice how you take the moment to understand what I'm doing or what everyone else is doing, and not just like, okay, I'm with my cello and I'm gonna play, but you really get involved in what is behind the what we are doing, like what is behind the skill. Yeah.
Yes. But for that you need to be very open, and also this is something what I learned from Daniel, that when you come up with a plan in this work, then you destroy the moment. And I think for us it's really challenging just to be open for that moment. And maybe when you want to talk about Beuys, I think this is what I think is die soziale Plastik.
Yes.
You know, that there is this space in between, and just to letting go and to be involved in the moment, and to be open for the development which we don't have in our hands. So I think this is something which is great on one hand, but also risky. Yeah, because it's like jumping into the water and you don't know really where's the journey going.
Yes.
So
Yeah. So yeah, we can dive into Beuys. So how long have you been like studying his work?
Well, I always adored him. I mean, maybe because he's this really amazing figure, you know. I mean, when you see him, I never met him, of course, because he was in a different age. But I know people, they met him, and I think it was very impressive to meet him, because he has such an aura, I would say, and even on the posters and on the documentary movies or whatever, you really see that he has an amazing aura. And so I was always very impressed. I didn't know a lot about him, but for me it was always interesting to see his figure and as well to see his art. And now when it came to that point that I had to write a thesis for my master's, I decided to write about him, because on one hand I thought it needs to be something which I'm attached to, because otherwise it doesn't make sense to spend so much time writing a thesis, and by that, of course, I was digging deeper in the whole cosmos. It's really a cosmos, and by diving into literature, and then I realized he has so much to tell, and he's still very, very modern, I think. I mean, he's really a visionary for our planet, and I see that he has a lot to tell about art and the deep meaning of art.
Yeah.
So, but it's not easy to catch, you know. I mean, it's not. You can go out with this sentence and say everybody's an artist, but what does it mean at the end?
Yes.
You know, so it's not Freitickets that everybody just goes out and says I'm an artist, you know. So everybody has to question, what is it?
Yes.
What is the meaning of art, and how we want to be touched by art, and why we need it, you know, and why we don't need it, and whatever.
Yes.
So this whole discussion, you know, which can approach, or which we can approach by asking these questions, I think that's interesting.
What would you say to that very, very famous sentence, everybody's an artist? What would you say?
Yes, I think it's not labeled, you know. I mean, but if we want to label it, we need to go on that journey. We need to ask ourselves, what is driving us? You know, what we understand under this impression or under this word being creative, and how can we put creativity in our regular life, you know. So I think this is the most difficult question, because sometimes we are not motivated, and sometimes we want somebody who tells us what to do, and it's easier, you know. So I think this whole question, I think it's a question of humanity in general. Why are we here, you know? What is our purpose? And when we come to these very deep questions, then I think we can label us as being an artist, you know. But just saying I'm an artist, it's not enough. You really have to ask these questions.
Yeah.
And maybe, because it says die soziale Plastik, maybe we cannot answer the question really alone, because we are social players, and we need the nature, and we need everything is in relationship, you know. When we put ourselves into a cave, I mean, we are still having a dialogue even with the cave, you know. So, and I think this is something which Joseph Beuys always said, that we communicate all the time, you know. We send information and we receive. And this whole process is very challenging. What are you sending? Why are you sending? What are you receiving? So, and this whole movement is an artistic movement, and I think this is his deeper message. But it's really hard to understand it, you know, when you want to dig deeper into that meaning, you know. And people that just tend to stay on the Oberfläche, on the surface, exactly.
Yeah, but I mean, I think it's so clear, and maybe you can elaborate on how that relates to you, to when you're playing music, because when you're saying, you know, we are always sending and we're always receiving, and for me, when I'm, that's something that I love from being on stage, and it doesn't have to be like a traditional stage, just having something happen and people around it really focusing, it creates like an energy, and it magnifies that. In my view, or in my experience, it magnifies the exchange of energy. So now that you ventured a bit into improvisation, could you feel like, as you were improvising, because we were doing some experiments, could you feel yourself maybe transmitting but also receiving the energy in the space and also from the people?
Yes, definitely. I mean, with an audience, I think it's very complex, you know, because an audience is not just, I mean, there are individuals in an audience. So I think this is really a very high quality that you, I mean, of course you feel the atmosphere, you know, if people are really interested and if they really can follow what's happening, you know, and but definitely as I was working with you and the other dancers, it was really interesting just to feel, because of your personalities, there is different energy and you have to respond in a different way. So this definitely is very interesting, and it also, I mean, I have to play differently, you know, according to the personalities. You know, I cannot just offer the same. I mean, it's a really sensitive process of dialoguing, or just of entering into that intimate, it's a very intimate dialogue, I think. Just being open for that energy and just replying on that. And then, of course, maybe also to offer something, you know. You know? If somebody is maybe shy and timid, and then you can just offer something as well. So it's a giving and receiving, definitely.
But you mentioned also something very important, and it's that intimacy. And I think sometimes the reason why people avoid improvisation, it's because they have to. You can, if you're gonna perform something that it's set, you can put like this fanza, like this something like this fake thing, or lacking the word right now, but like there's something that protects you.
Yes.
But the moment you don't have a script, or you don't have the notes, or in my case, the movements, then it's like, okay, it's you, right? It's what it's there, and yeah, it's very beautiful. Like in the projects I've been involved, so you for example, we did the Geccioffe des Prometheus, which is a very mystical, very well known piece. And we had the Mozart Requiem. So could you share how you approach making historical art forms relevant to today's society or to today's audience? Because it's not like you make them the same, but you always adapt them, in my view.
Yes. Well, I mean, when I think about, there was this discussion about playing Mozart Requiem as a version as for strings, and then I came up with this idea to invite you as a dancer, because I think coming back to this intimate way of playing, because it's different when you have the whole choir setting. Of course you can invite dancers all the time, so I think it's always great to link it, but in this intimate way of transporting this beautiful music, I thought it's great just to have you as a dancer, because it opens up in the audience a different layer, from maybe even when music is very well known, then people tend to, okay, I know it, and they come, of course, with their expectations, This is like when you eat food, and you order the same, and then maybe you have these expectations, how it has to taste, whatever. But I think just to open up a new layer, it opens up a new dimension, even for the listeners, and even for us, when we play it, and then of course we have to interact, and for us it gives also a new dimension to it. So, and this is something which is always inspiring, I think, just to think in other terms, Yes.
Cool. Okay. Okay. So yes. So you have done these like more historical, also the Baroque pieces, but also you've studied Joseph Beuys. So how do you link these two very seemingly opposite worlds together in your work?
I was running this cantiere, the wooden theater, which I unfortunately had to leave now, but it was a small idea of Soziale Plastik, inviting people into the house and just not just offering music to the people, but offering another space where they can interact and talk. And so this is one perspective which I really like. I think Joseph Beuys was always a very good host, because from his whole attitude he was always welcoming people, and I think this is the most important value for me, to be hospitable, and just to open up places, and even to take a performance, to open up an audience, to meet and to have a dialogue, So of course it's nice to go to a concert and enjoy it and then go home, but in such an intimate space where you have not so many people, it's always great to open up that space and to mingle with people, also with different kinds of people. I think this is very important, that you have highly educated people, and even people maybe for them it's the first time that they come to such a concert. This would be fantastic, just to have all kinds of people. And at the moment we are all linked together because we have the same focus, and through that maybe we find a new way of dialoguing or of talking to each other. So this is something which I always see in my mind, that through art you can use an hospital way of interacting with people on different layers. I always love to see that when it happens. Yes.
But I mean, I think it is a quality that you really embody from Joseph Beuys, because and I didn't know he was a very good guest host, but because you mentioned the wooden space you had. And for me, it was fascinating the first time I went there and how comfortable I felt, and I felt like staying, even though I knew, it's quite a way back home. I mean, in Dresden terms. But then, when we did the Mozart Requiem in Technische Sammlung, people also wanted to stay there, and we were having very good chats. And now you moved to Pirna, and you had this very spontaneous idea to, you're new in the place, and you just organized this Lebendiger Advent in Pirna. So, I just love that you have this energy with you. It's not about the spaces, it's also about the people. So going to your recent and current project, Lebendiger Advent in Pirna, can you tell us how you approach taking such a established form as the Advent calendar or the Weihnachtsmarkt, and just bring it give it new life? How did that start in your mind?
I wanted to do it many years, but it never happened because the infrastructure where I lived was really totally different. Now I moved to Pirna, and of course everything is tiny there, so you can walk easily in the center, and then I thought this is a great infrastructure, to do this Lebendiger Advent. I mean, the idea is that on every night between the 1st and the 24th, there's a door opening. So, and for me it was great just to meet people, because I'm new there, and then I thought, okay, at least you have to call up 23 people, and now I know 23 people, and of course more in the city, and it was really easy because people are very open and they really liked it. So there's a small group and we meet every night.
Yes.
It's very sweet. It's very easy, because everybody just offers whatever they want to offer, according to their place or according to what they want to do, and it's very different. So, and I just love it because it's a variety of life,
Yes.
And I had the idea just to leave it very open, just to give it in the hands of the people what they want to offer. And I think it's really nice because it's like when you have this box and you have all these little different things inside, and it's lovely. People just love it. It's really nice.
And can you, because I haven't been there, but can you say more or less the different doors? You don't have to say the ones that are still surprised. But
yes. So it was from singing in the church, and then short movies in Complex 45. It's an amazing building. So then it was at a gallery, and she showed through the exhibition, and so one day we were doing little stars or handcraft, or very very different places, and And even for people, when they don't know the place, I think it was really nice even to discover new places in Pirna. And so, yes, really great.
Cool. Okay, my last question. So, in your experience in organizing events in many different places, spaces, countries, what have you found is key to creating meaningful artistic experiences that ultimately connect with the people?
Can you repeat it again?
Yes. What is the key to creating meaningful artistic experiences that connect with people? Like, have you found the key that you just can apply everywhere? I think you do, but like...
I mean, first of all, you need to enjoy what you do.
Yes.
And then because I think any space can be a cathedral somehow, you know. I mean, when you come to a space, you bring your energy, and any space can be inspiring, just because when I see places, I always have an idea what you can do there, you know. And then it's this theater without walls, I would say. It's a theater without institution. It's just the space, and then people come there and interact, and then you have already the theater. And I think this, for me, this makes the work very interesting, you know. And maybe people feel it, you know, that there is a space. Even when people join to the space, then they are part of the theater, even if they know it or not.
Yeah.
You know, because it's not, there's not a wall between the performers and the audience, you know, because I think it's really taking it as a whole concept. It's not that you target your audience, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So when I see, for example, Ensemble opera, which I adore, I mean, they are doing brilliant work, but they have a very clear target, you know, and I think this is sometimes the problem. Of course, it's a question of you need to get your money and whatever, and even you have to raise your standard, and then you have to apply for people who can afford to go there. And I mean, from a perspective of marketing, maybe we understand that, but from a perspective of humanity, we don't understand it. And I think this is the crucial point, you know, and maybe this is also the crucial point, how we find sponsors, you know, that art can be always without any barriers and walls. And I think this is maybe the big vision of the Soziale Plastik. How can we just keep that alive? And I mean, you have to live, I have to live. So, but how can we exclude it from approaching our audience? I would say.
Yes.
You know, the audience is humanity.
Yes.
And the audience is maybe including the nature and the cosmos and whatever.
Yes.
So everything needs to be included, and I think this is for me the vision for our planet and humanity, that everything is included.
Beautiful. Okay, I think those are beautiful words to finish with. Thank you so much.
Thank you as well.
Yeah. So I will put all the links to Katrin's channel. She also has a YouTube channel, and your Instagram,
Yes, I'm
Facebook, more
starting.
Yes. So I will leave all of that so you can connect directly with her. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Tommy.
Thank you.